I would like to introduce another Carey School alumni in his Panther Points of Pride video.
Hi, I'm Joe Bennett. I graduated from Carey High School in 1963, and I did not take speech. Lou Harkins was my mother. My stepdad was Claude Harkins, and we lived, north of Carey. Oh, right there on the corner, just north. Across from the cafe there, Load and Shoot. And then Claude had a farm south. See, Dad sold that to him. Then he owned a farm south, and they built a house. Farm south is just behind the elevator. Then him and Mom built a new house there. I think the competition of everybody in sports made us all better. And when we was a junior, we had intramurals, and we beat the seniors. And boy, that was a bad deal. They wouldn't talk to us the rest of the school year. And that was Gail Roberts and Ed Williams, and let's see who else had been in that class. Pat Meania, some of them guys. Yeah, we whipped them pretty good, and they was really upset for a long time. But it was good for them. Oh, let's see, my favorite teacher was probably Bob Day, Wendell Wolf, Mrs. Toon. I didn't really have any favorites, Yeah. Mr. Peck and I got to be really good friends after school was over. And I'd go to Carey 748 and say, we got to be good friends, but during school, not so much. Mostly David Rush and Walter Peck. Oh, went hunted rabbits a lot in the wintertime out on the old Priest Road. And, hunted deer and rabbits and just everything. Done a lot of hunting. Well, I guess I wanted to rodeo and be in the horse deal, and I kind of ended up that way. I was state brand inspector and an auctioneer and trained a bunch of horses, and I judged the Miss Idaho Queen contest for rodeos for, probably 10, 12 years, and I judged horsemanship. And so one year we had a horsemanship deal, and so then I made all the girls put their horses' names in a hat and draw out, and they had to ride different horse. Whoa, you talk about a bunch of mad girls. Well, they was mad. But it sure showed you who the horse girls was. Yeah. But they was really upset. Well, one year, it was the first year showman come in, had a black steer. And you could tell when this black steer stepped in, he just kind of threw his head up, and you could tell he'd get hooky pretty quick. So I was just kind of being quiet, and this little kid was leading his steer around, and I stopped him and I said, has this old steer ever jerked away from you? He said, oh yeah, lots of times. So I started selling, and he started leading, and went 2 or 3 circles, and I stopped him again, and I said, has this steer ever jumped by you and kicked you? He said, oh yeah, quite a few times. So I started selling, he started leading, and just before I got ready to sell out, I stopped, and I said, I'll bet you hate to see this steer go, don't you? And he said, I'll be glad when this son of a bitch is gone. It was probably 15 minutes before we got going again, because everybody was just roaring and laughing, and it was so funny, because a lot of the old kids tear up, and stuff. But boy, he was glad that steer was going somewhere, and he didn't care where. It was really comical. Well, I was a state brand inspector. They changed supervisors, and I didn't get along with the supervisor. New supervisors are very good. And I probably worked a year, and he would come to the sales, and he always had a bunch of cattle to work in the back, and so we was roping, shearing, looking at irons and stuff, and sometimes he'd talk to you and be friendly, sometimes he wouldn't even know who you was. And I just didn't like that, couldn't handle it. So we was in Twin one day, and I said, I don't really need your job, so you can just stick it, I'm done. So after sale, I was done, quit, went home. We had 5 little kids, and lived on the farm there in Wendell. And I told Marcia, I said, Marcia, I quit my job today. And she was, real pleased about that deal. 5 kids feed, no job. I mean, she wasn't real happy. So we went to bed that night. I woke up 2 o'clock in the morning and woke her up, and I said, Marcia, I'm going to be an auctioneer. And she said, Joe, you better lay back down and go to sleep. So I did, and that was on Saturday night. Got up Sunday morning. And I called Jim Metzer-Smith. He had an auction company in Twin Falls, and asked him about auction school. He told me to call Billings to Bob Hoagland and Bob Hagen, and see about getting in school. So I called him up, told him my circumstances, and he said, Joe, starts Monday morning. If you can be up here, ready to go to work, I'll let you do it. So I loaded my clothes Sunday and head for Billings, Montana. So that's kind of how I got in auction business. Yeah. And it's been good to me. It's been good. And I sold 5 livestock sales a week at one time, and it was real funny. A lot of auctioneers are jealous, and they don't want to help you out. So they had a stud stallion service in a sale in Jerome, just a fundraiser. People would bring their stallions, sell a breed fee, and then the money would go to a donation, So Bill Harris owned the Shoshone, him and OJ owned Shoshone Sale Yard. And so, nobody acted like they wanted me to sell their horse. They was all friendly, but they didn't think I was much of an auctioneer, which I wasn't at that time. So Bill Harris came up and said, Joe, he said, you just sell my horse. I said, okay, Bill, thank you, I'd like to do that. He said, if you get $100 breed fee on him, that's fine. So I started out, and I'll tell you what, I got behind that mic, my tongue felt that big around, and so I started out a couple hundred, dropped 100, went down to $50, somebody got in. So I racked from 50 to 100. When I hit 100, I bailed out. I didn't ask for 110. I didn't ask for 105. I just said, sold. So Bill Harris, after the sale, he said, Joe, couldn't you have asked for 110? And I said, well, I guess I could have, Bill. And that's the end of the subject. So I sold Shoshone for years, and Bill, the auctioneer, said in the auction booth, Bill would be standing beside you. So I'd be selling cows or whatever, and be going along and be getting ready to sell out, and he'd say, can you ask for 10? He'd bump me on the leg and just say, quiet, can you ask for 10? He'd done that for 20 years. It was just kind of a private joke between Bill and I. So, yeah, it's been fun. I sold kids' projects that I went to school with. And then I sold the kids that I went to school with kids' projects, And so I kind of knew everybody for 5-10 years, and now I don't know anybody. So, yeah, I was sold 210 sales a year for a lot of years. I sold 4 auto auctions a week. I drive to Boise, jump on the airplane, go to Portland, Salt Lake to Vegas, back to Boise, and sell 4 a week. And then I sold 2 livestock sales a week. And then on weekends, I would help Masters Auction Service with farm sales. So I've always kind of been a glutton for punishment. I think what really inspires me is I trained a bunch of horses, won a bunch of reignings, and just to get on a good horse and do some reining team roping, whatever. I used to be a pickup man at the rodeos. After I got too old to rodeo, I started picking up. And picked up for Slash T Rodeo Company and Castle's Brothers out of American Falls and Pearson's out of Mackay. So I picked up for 3 rodeo companies and just had a lot of fun. It was good. Inspiring. I guess because I didn't know what my next step was. Marcia and I got married, and so I knew that I had to work, so yeah, so that was I owned a milk truck, can route, for a while, hauled Kraft Foods, and that was a lot of exercise, throwing the milk cans up in a milk truck above your head, and if there was an iron bar that went across the door, and you'd hit the cans, pick them up, and kind of use your knee to buck them up. And if you done it just right, it was cool. If you hit that iron bar wrong, it popped that lid and just drowned you with milk. So that was sometimes kind of a messy job, but yeah. I think losing my place or South Window, I lost my place and my family all within about 5 months, and I got real wild and ignorant and thought about bailing out of the world, and stopped over in Twin one night and walked out on the bridge and was going to bail out, and decided I didn't have the guts, so I thought I better get straightened up. And I got a job training horses at Billsley Creek Ranch down here at Hagerman, which was a quarter horse and a thoroughbred horse ranch, and it's just like a Kentucky horse ranch. I mean, really, really deluxe. And I was going to work there and foaling out mares during the winter, and then I was going to get out of the country. And so come spring, I went to Donnie McFadden, the guy that owned it, and said, Donnie, I'm going to draw my check, and I'm heading out of here. He said, no, I ain't going to let you do it, Joe. He said, you really know a lot about horses. You're really a good hand. And he said, you're going to stay on train horses. So I stayed on, and that's how I ended up in Hagerman for all these years, since '84. And trained with Donnie for 6 years. And then a guy that owned a place out north of Hagerman come to me and said, Joe, if I built you a new indoor, would you come train a horse for me? And I said, yeah, I would. And his name was Dan McFadden. No relation, but they was both McFaddens. So the indoor, the red indoor north of town, that was built for me. So I trained a horse there for, another probably 5-6 years. And all the time I was training for these guys, I had a barn down by the river that I leased, and I'd ride probably 20, 25 head of horses a day between the outfits and stuff, and so I trained a lot of horses. But it sure healed my mind and because you kind of get to thinking that you can't do nothing, and a colt would turn around pretty good, and you think, well, maybe I can do something. And next day it'd kind of get a little better. Next day it'd kind of get a little better. And so if you just kind of hang tough, it kind of works, kind of comes around. So don't bail out. I would say listen to what your parents taught you. Listen to what the church has taught you. If you're that way. most all the kids in Carey, to my knowledge, are all pretty decent kids. Just stay that way, because the world needs a bunch of good people. My 8 kids, yeah, we raised 8 kids, 6 girls and 2 boys, and they're all really, really good kids, and so yeah, I had a lot of fun with my girls, because when they got old enough to start dating, I would put a shotgun by the door, and their date, I'd say now, and I'd kind of point at the gun, I'd kind of say, now you guys going to be home like 11:30? No kids say, yes sir, we will be. And so I had a lot of fun with my girls, and then they all went to college. All the kids went to college, and so my girls was always all really pretty girls, because they had a pretty mama. And so, and I was in karate and getting to be a black belt, and so I'd go to lessons and come home and teach the girls, and because I was getting ready to move out, you know, go to college, and so I'd show them some holes and some things, and they'd say, now Dad, what if this don't work? I'd say, now girls, drag them to the light. As quick as they see you, they'll turn you loose. And just had a lot of fun with them. Let's see, I got 4 girls. They're teachers, principals, superintendents. And the other girls work at the hospital. Cammie's husband retired from the Army. And so she's a housewife and a good grandma. And then my oldest kid is Courtney. He's got his electrical business in McCall. And then Cody, the youngest boy, is an auctioneer. And he said, Dad, would you teach me how to auctioneer? I said, no, Cody, but I'll send you to auction school. So I sent him to Billings, and he'd come back, and I was selling livestock sale, and so I took him to livestock sale, let him sell a little, and he said, Dad, I don't like selling livestock. So I'd take him to farm sales and let him help out, and he said, Dad, I don't like farm sales either. So I was doing the auto auction too, and took him some auto auctions, and he said, do you think you can get me in the auto auction business? And I said, yeah, I think I probably can, Cody. So I got him in the auto auction business, and he's been doing about 20 plus years, and really a good auctioneer, really good. And he comes down and helps me on bigger farm sales and stuff. I own an auction company, which isn't a lot of fun. No, it's I still do auctions, and I own an auction company now. So, do farm sales, antiques. I'm a certified appraiser, and so I appraise antiques, livestock, farm equipment. I'm licensed to do all that. The bicentennial was was 76. Well, it started out in 75, and it was put on by the Pennsylvania Commonwealth. Instead of going from east to west, they started on the west coast and went east and wanted to be in Pennsylvania. I can't remember what we're at, but in Pennsylvania on July the 4th at the bicentennial, which was 76. So it started out in 75. And my family, we had 5 kids at that time. We were selected to drive the Idaho wagon. So that was a real treat. We had a lot of fun. And we went down by the river, and our farm's by the river, and you're just riding along in a covered wagon, being pulled by a team of horses, big horses, and we'd been down that road 100 times. You'd say, oh, I never seen that. Oh, look at there. You just go along, you could see and notice. And so we had a good time. Yeah. So a few years ago, it's been a number of years ago, I decided I wanted to learn to be a saddle maker. So I found an old saddle maker in Pine Bluff, Wyoming. Called him and went back and spent a couple of months with him and learned how to build saddles. So I had a saddle shop here in Hagerman. And all my kids start with K's, so I just called it the 8K Saddle Shop. And had a real good business. In fact, I had two of them here in Hagerman, different times, different locations. And just had a really good, had a good business, built a lot of saddles. And I used to go to Carey and give riding lessons to some of the younger kids through Jolene and Randy Dredge, and give their kids riding lessons. And then there was a bunch of other kids that showed up, and so that was good luck. And it's just, the Lord's been really good to me. Been really, really good to me. So being cowboying and horse training, I knew a lot of people, so I had a pretty good saddle shop business, you know, and so it worked out good. Yep. Anything. Wallets, purses, breast collars, whatever. Yep. Head stalls. Yep. I had a guy pull in one time in a saddle shop and I was still selling auto auctions, a couple auto auctions at that time. And he pulled in a brand new Dodge pickup. And I knew that they cost, you know, around $35,000, $45,000. So he come in and he said, he didn't know me, I didn't know him, I met him, and he said, I would like you to make me a new saddle. He said, what's your saddle price? I said, my basic saddle price is $1,800. And he just throwed a fit. He said, holy cow, cussed and cursed, and said, that's a lot of money. And just went on. And I finally said, sir, you're driving a pickup that costs $35,000, $45,000, and it ain't gonna last 20 years. I make a saddle, basic saddle's $1,800, and it'll last a lifetime. I said, why don't you grab your butt and just get out of here? And he left, and that was the end of that story. I just really enjoyed going to Carey School, and we would go ice skating and tobogganing and get on a car hood behind a car and just go over them big old high banks and down through, and we just had a really good time. Then go to somebody's house and eat chili, and it just kind of, at that time, I don't know how it is now, but nobody really dated, because it took all of us to make a party, you know, so we just all kind of show up and all have fun, and sometimes if you got lucky, you got hooked up with a gal to go home with, you know, and take her home, and if you're lucky, you get a kiss or two, and end of story. So, but it was just real fun. Yeah, and them days, shoot, there would be people out on the lake, Carey Lake, ice skating that was, 75, 80 years old, you know, and because there wasn't many TVs in Carey, and ball games, everybody showed up to basketball games, football games, and I was real fortunate to be a running back, scored a lot of touchdowns. In fact, I had more touchdowns called back because somebody clipped, held, they was really bad to do that, and then anybody in our part of the world had to count it, plus I had a bunch counted. And so my cousin from Grace, that's where all the Bennetts come from, they saved their money, a couple of high school guys, saved their money to come over and watch me play football. Because like I said, Lord blessed me with a lot of talent, and I was really fast. And scored a lot of touchdowns, so they'd heard about it, come over. We was playing Bellevue at a school at that time. We was playing Bellevue, and second quarter, a Myers kid, me and him pretty good friends now, we got in a fight, and we got thrown out. And my cousin just cussed me, They said, we drove 3 hours to watch you play ball. You get thrown out second quarter, and they cursed me, loaded up, and went back. So, but we had a lot of fun, a lot of fun. And at that time, at basketball games, we had that little bitty gym in the old high school, and the black lines on the side was right under the people's feet that sat on the bleachers. So you'd get a fast break, head down, somebody'd stick a toe out and just dump you. And the fight was on. And I've seen them turn out the lights to where nobody could see anybody until the fight quit. Then we'd go and play ball. It was crazy. Good old days, good old days. Yeah. I've just been real fortunate. Won some bronc ridings, and won the bronc riding over in Grace in '64. Was all-around cowboy down here at Hagerman in 1980, the last year they had the rodeo here. And I've just been real fortunate. Like I said, the good Lord has blessed me with a lot of talent, athletic, and I get along with people really well. Always have done, and just enjoyed it. Yep. Auctioneering has been just kind of a niche for me, because I enjoy giving people a bad time, and they enjoy giving it back to me, and so it's just good. It's just good. I am Joe Bennett, and I was lucky to graduate from Carey High School in 1963.